She was supposed to be the face of a new Disney era, a rising star with a voice that stunned Spielberg and a role that could have defined a generation. But now, Rachel Zegler has become one of the most talked about cautionary tales in Hollywood. Disney poured hundreds of millions into their live-action Snow White with Rachel front and center. But instead of applause, they got outrage, memes, and empty theaters. And now, studios are pulling back, roles are disappearing, and the same internet that once celebrated her is turning its back. But here's the twist. Rachel Zegler just broke her silence. And whether you love her or can't stand what she said, what she's doing next might actually shock you. This isn't just a celebrity drama. This is a full-blown Hollywood implosion and maybe a redemption arc in the making. So buckle up, because we're breaking down exactly how Rachel Zegler went from industry darling to damaged brand, the roles she's lost, the reaction she's giving now, and whether she still has a future in the business that turned its back on her. Before the headlines and the controversy, Rachel Zegler was a dream discovery. A high school student who landed the role of Maria in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story after submitting a video audition online. No agent, no Hollywood connections, just raw talent. She delivered a powerful performance. Critics raved, she won a Golden Globe. And Hollywood came calling fast. She was cast in Shazam. Fury of the Gods secured a role in The Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and then came the announcement that set everything on fire. Rachel Zegler would play Snow White in Disney's live-action remake. It was a bold move, a reimagining of Disney's first-ever animated feature. Rachel, as the first Latina to portray the iconic princess, symbolized a more inclusive, modern take on the classic. The project was hyped as a cultural milestone. But somewhere between that promise and the premiere, things took a sharp left turn. Press tours are meant to build excitement, not destroy it. But in a series of interviews, Rachel's words did exactly that. She described the original Snow White as weird, criticized the 1937 film's focus on romance, and flat out said the prince character was a guy who literally stalks her. That might have been an attempt at modern commentary, but to millions of Disney fans, it came off as tone deaf. It didn't stop there. Rachel added that this version of Snow White wouldn't center around a love story at all, saying it would focus on a strong woman who doesn't need a man. That messaging clashed hard with what many fans felt Snow White represented: innocence, charm, and timeless fantasy. Then came the political remarks. In another viral clip, Rachel directly told certain political groups, "I don't need your business." That soundbite exploded online. Memes, YouTube reactions, and backlash flooded in. Even people who didn't care about Snow White were suddenly invested. At a time when Hollywood is constantly walking the tightrope between modernization and nostalgia, Rachel's comments ignited a full-blown identity crisis, not just for the movie, but for Disney itself. Let's talk numbers. Snow White reportedly cost Disney around $370 million, including marketing. With that kind of investment, they needed a blockbuster. What they got was one of the biggest flops in Disney history. Opening weekend pulled in just $43 million. That's bad. Second weekend, even worse. A 66% drop and a fall to second place behind a mid-budget action movie with far less marketing and fewer theaters. And then came the online humiliation. People started posting photos of empty theaters. Some even showed entire showtimes where not a single ticket had been sold. One video showed Rachel herself attending a screening that looked more like a private event than a Disney premiere. These visuals went viral. The image of the lead actress sitting alone in a sea of red velvet seats became the symbolic nail in the coffin. For many, this wasn't just a flop, it was a public spectacle. By the time the dust settled, Snow White had made just under $150 million worldwide. Not only was it a financial disaster, but it also failed to resonate with critics or audiences. Its IMDb rating sank to one of the lowest ever for a Disney remake. And here's where things got real. Shortly after Snow White's underperformance, sources began leaking that Rachel was being quietly dropped from several major roles. Her rumored part in Toy Story 5, gone. Talks with Disney over Pirates of the Caribbean, canceled. Even a planned horror trilogy with Blumhouse evaporated. One studio insider told Variety that Rachel had become a PR risk. Her name wasn't attached to dollar signs anymore, it was attached to controversy. And in an industry where money talks, that kind of baggage can get you ghosted fast. Rachel's social media didn't help either. Her unapologetic tone, perceived smugness, and clashes with fans only deepened the divide. Her brand had become synonymous not with empowered storytelling, but with industry headache. By this point, Hollywood wasn't just stepping back, it was slamming the door shut. After weeks of mounting criticism, Rachel Zegler finally spoke up. Not through a sassy tweet or a red carpet soundbite, but with a rare moment of vulnerability. The backlash had reached a boiling point. Her interviews had gone viral for the wrong reasons, the box office numbers were tanking, and her social media was under constant fire. Zegler apologized for the tone and divisiveness of her post, saying, "I'm sorry for the things I said that hurt people. That was never my intention. I've taken time to reflect, and I realize how powerful words can be, especially in today's climate." Though she didn't walk back her personal views, the focus of her apology was clear. She was trying to rebuild trust with the broader public. She emphasized that she didn't want to shut people out or alienate potential audiences. "I respect everyone's right to their own beliefs, and I want to be a part of stories that bring people together, not push them further apart," she added. For Rachel Zegler, it wasn't just about saving face. It was the first step in a larger fight to save her career. Hollywood has short-term memory. We've seen stars go from scandal to Oscar-winning comeback in just a few years. Robert Downey Jr. did it. Brendan Fraser did it. Even Lindsay Lohan is working again. Rachel's talent isn't in question. Her voice is stunning. Her on-screen presence, when guided well, is undeniable. What's in question is whether audiences and studios are willing to let her start fresh. She needs distance from the controversy. She needs time. And most of all, she needs a project that lets the work speak louder than the headlines. But right now, she's in the penalty box. And whether she gets a second act depends less on her talent and more on her choices going forward. We also need to talk about Disney. Because this wasn't just a Rachel Zegler issue, it was a Disney issue too. They greenlit a bold reimagining of their most sacred film, handed the reins to a polarizing lead, and failed to guide the narrative. No studio control, no messaging strategy, no damage control until it was too late. Critics are now calling Snow White the poster child for Disney's identity crisis, caught between honoring legacy and chasing cultural relevance. The studio let a $370 million movie get hijacked by bad press and internet memes, and now they're paying the price. Whether Disney takes this as a lesson or simply scapegoats Zegler remains to be seen. So what now? For Disney, Snow White might get quietly buried, never to be revisited. Merch is already disappearing. Streaming dates are still unconfirmed. It's the kind of silent retreat studios make when they want the world to move on. As for Rachel, she has two choices: fade out quietly or rebuild deliberately. Some whispers say she's meeting with new PR teams, possibly changing representation. Others say she's focusing on Broadway or smaller indie films to regain credibility. If she plays it smart, keeps a low profile, focuses on craft, and earns trust back slowly, she could make a comeback. Not with a bang, but with a whisper that grows louder over time. Because in Hollywood, the curtain only really falls when you stop showing up. So what do you think? Is Rachel Zegler's fall from grace deserved or overblown? Did Disney set her up to fail, or was it her own undoing? And more importantly, can she bounce back? Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to LoafTube for future celebrity videos and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.